In this lesson, we will be talking about capacity and volume and how they are related. So I have a graduated cylinder in the picture there, and it has a capacity of 500 milliliters. If we pour 400 milliliters of water, we can say that the volume of the water is 400 milliliters. That is, we can measure that volume of water in milliliters. So the volume of an object can be measured in cubic centimeters or milliliters, and they're actually equal. 1 cubic centimeter is equal to 1 milliliter. So another way that we can find the volume of an object is to use displacement. So your notes here have a diagram. I actually would like to invite you into my kitchen to explore this in a slightly different way. So I am welcoming you to my kitchen where we are going to do a little bit of an exploration using some of the things you should have at home. So some of the things that I found are a variety of measuring cups. So I have a 1 cup all the way down to I've used some spoons and my smallest is a 1/4. I will show you a close up of these right away here. I also have a large measuring cup. This one holds 8 cups, or if we're talking about different measurements, 2,000 milliliters, so it holds 2 liters. I have a smaller one here. This one holds a maximum of a ½ liter is what it says, and I'll show you a close up in a moment. So I have a smaller one as well. And then I found a really, really small graduated cylinder that we'll take another look at. The other thing I found were, you guys may have some of these around. They are syringes for water or maybe for medicine for if you have cattle or maybe one of your pets has been sick in the past. So they are things that we're going to look at as well. So I'm going to give you a close-up of some of these things, and then we will talk a little bit about how we can use them to explore volume and capacity.
So here are my measuring cups. So you'll notice that on my 1 cup, it also tells me that this is 237 milliliters. It has all the measurements on mine, including if I go down to 1/4 teaspoon is about 1.25 milliliters. So if we're looking at how much a milliliter is, this is actually a really good referent or picture for your brain so that you can kind of look at and see what it looks like. Now, the other tools that I have here are I have my large measuring cup or measuring bowl. I have the smaller one, so it has cups and ounces on this side, which are imperial, but here I have my milliliters, and you'll notice at the top there it does say a ½ liter. And then I have this really, really small one. So this is a graduated cylinder, and so you can see milliliters on this side here. And so those would be the ones that we'd be looking at in this unit. My syringes that I have are measured in, I know it says discard after use, are measured in milliliters. So you can see an example of the milliliters there. And this one is also in milliliters, but it's a little bit smaller, so it's a little bit more precise. So we are going to take a look at these and some of the tools that are things I found around my house and practice measuring some capacity.
All right, so we're going to practice measuring some volume and capacity. I've moved closer so my head doesn't fit anymore. So I have my smaller measuring cup, and what I've done is I have put, and it's going to be wiggly now, but 250 milliliters of water into my measuring cup. Now, the way that we often measure capacity is, especially when we have weird shaped figures, is we actually use displacement. So we find out what the amount was before, and then we add something to the water, and then we're going to find out how much there is afterwards. And then we do a little bit of subtraction to figure out the difference. So the reason that we do this is sometimes we can't measure things really nicely. So my examples are, I have a collection of golf balls. They're regular golf balls that my husband and I found on the golf course near our house. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put them in the water and we're going to see how much it changes by. So when we're doing this, we're going to put 1 golf ball in, And as I do that, I'm going to hold this closer here. You will see that the water level should go up. Now, it might be hard to tell, but let's see if it can get a little bit not so wiggly. The water level has gone up to almost 300 milliliters. So if I were to measure the displacement of this, it went from 250 milliliters when there was no golf ball in it to almost 300 milliliters with a golf ball in it. And so that tells me that the capacity of this golf ball. So if I wanted to know how much material I needed to make this golf ball, it would be about 50 milliliters. Now I have another kind of wonky shaped thing that I'm going to do this with as well. So I have a Ninja Turtle. The golf ball just hit my kitchen floor. I have a Ninja Turtle, and this is an old toy that I found laying around my house. So I can figure out what the capacity of this toy, so how much plastic it would take to make this toy, by doing the same thing. So I took that golf ball out. That means I'm back to 250 milliliters, and we're gonna see if this is a big enough space for me to put this in here. And if not, then we're gonna have to try something a little bit different. So sometimes when we start, you will see my Ninja Turtle does not fit very well into this size of thing. So that means that I'm gonna have to go up a size of cup. So we're gonna try it again in the larger sized cup. All right, so I have filled my larger measuring cup with 1,000 milliliters of water this time. The reason why I did that is because 250 doesn't even register. So my smallest measurement on here is actually 500. So I had to go with something a little bit larger. Otherwise, I couldn't actually measure it in here. So I can put my Ninja Turtle into the water. I'll show you up close carefully. So we have, and it's going to wiggle a little bit, 1,000 milliliters of water. And I'm going to put my Ninja Turtle in. So now he is fully submerged, and we can see that it is at somewhere about halfway between 1,000 and 1,250. About halfway, I would say. So sometimes we don't have as precise of measurement tools in our homes that we need. And that's okay. If we were at school, we'd have a lot of graduated cylinders, so a lot more of these that are larger and built for us to be able to play with this. But we're working with what we have in our home, so we can get a pretty good idea of what it might look like. Now, if I wanted maybe a better measurement, I actually have more than one Ninja Turtle. I have three. And so I could take and put all three of them in here and then see how much it moved and then try and do an average depending on which Ninja Turtle I have as to how much is actually moved. So we're going to try this, but we're going to try it with the golf balls and 1,000 milliliter of waters because I have a large collection of golf balls. And they're all the same, whereas my Ninja Turtles are the different characters, so they're all a little bit different. So I'm going to get rid of Mr. Ninja Turtle and we're going to get some golf balls and we're going to take a look at this with multiple golf balls to see how we could do this if we can't measure the amount. All right, so I'm back with 4 golf balls and I have my 1,000 milliliters of water. So we had guessed that it was about 50 milliliters per golf ball when we were working with our smaller container over here of water. So we're going to use the golf balls to try and figure out if we are about right when we are measuring there. So I'm going to add them into my water. And let it settle a little bit here so it's not wiggling. And these 4 golf balls take me almost exactly to 250 milliliters. So that means that my 4 golf balls are 250 milliliters. Um, if I were to divide that, that means that each golf ball is just over 60 milliliters. So my guessing on my last one was pretty close. Now remember, our measurement tools are not specific, they're not very precise, so we are doing a little bit of guessing here. So these are some of the things that you can do in your home to kind of get an idea of what some of this might look like. One of the other things that you can do if you do have a syringe, so I have this small syringe that has milliliters on it, and I'm going to use it to practice or to take a look at what 1 milliliter looks like. So I'm going to use this water here, and I'm going to get just 1 milliliter into it. That's going to require me to do a little bit of being precise here. All right, so I have 1 milliliter inside of this, and I'm going to try putting it into my quarter teaspoon so that I can take a look and see what it looks like and get more of a visual of this. So I'm going to do a close-up video of this so that you can see it a little bit better.
So I have my syringe with, and we'll have to take a quick look at this, 1 milliliter of liquid in it. Now it's not quite exact because there's an air bubble in there. Now these are kind of hard to work with on this small. And I have my quarter teaspoon, which is supposed to hold 1.25, which is 1 1/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squirt this liquid into there. I spilt a little, so it's not exact. But you can see that it doesn't even fill up that measuring spoon. So when I'm looking at it, that is about 1 milliliter. So it's really not a lot of liquid. So if you have a quarter teaspoon at home, you can try and fill it with about that much. And it kind of gives you an idea of what this might look like. So when we're looking at this, it's something where we're looking at comparing and getting an idea in our heads of what does this look like in real life. And so we have that, we have our golf balls. And so I hope that some of these are good visualizations for you to help understand the difference between milliliters and liters and capacity in general.